Okay guys, we are ready. We've gone through all the other stuff and now it's all about blocking out the first pass. And this is just literally the poses. We're going to do solid poses and pose every single pose in the run. Put it in a constant interpolation, just pose to pose, so we can see how it is transitioning. So without further ado, let's grab our models, whatever model you want, the concept's the same, and let's go for it and let's have fun animating. So animate along with me, take your time, now let's dive straight in. Okay guys, let's open this. Rig, my collection. And this is the rig we're going to be working with. Fun times, yes. Okay, so you might notice the grid's a bit small there, so we'll just make that a bit bigger. That's better. Okay, and what I tend to do is, because my reference is facing this way, I just turn the character around. So we'll use this reference. The only thing with this reference is these hips are not right. When the leg is leading forward, the hips is going the opposite way. Right, it's leading, so it's forward, but we'll fix that. But that's the reference we'll work with, and we know how to edit it. All right, guys. So what I like to do is, I like to work in the side view for this. So what the first thing I do is I'll look at the reference here, and I'll just check out where's the front foot. That one's the front. So this foot is front and that's back. So at least I know I'm working with front back. Okay. Now the first thing I'll do, I'll make sure that the stretch function here. Oh, sorry. The stretch function is on 10 and on the other leg. So we can get away with stretches and stuff, you know, which will be good for us. We'll be more flexible. Okay, so the first pose, let's do this. Let's knock these out, yeah? First pose, let's make this simple and fun. So we'll come back here, check out the first pose, leg forward. So this leg is forward, and we'll use this control here to make the leg up like that. So that's going to be the contact. Hips will be leaning forward because it's running. And in the back here, we will have like back, flowing back like that, because this leg will be like this. And what we'll do, we'll just rotate this a bit more. That's it. Maybe have it back like that. Yeah, like that. And then what I do now, the geo, yeah. All right, guys, when you get this character in, something I need to just say to you is select everything and go to new layer and add everything in that layer. And then if you press this, go to R, which means you can't select it. And then if you do the controls, you can either, I've got shortcuts 2, 3 that show controls, no controls. So the shortcut, I can put that script in the resources so you guys can do that as well. I'll do a video on that as well, how to do that. Or you can just go here, show curves. But I've got a shortcut for efficiency. So I've already got that here, so I can delete that. But that's a good thing to do, because then it's quick workflow. Okay, so we've got this. And then when you select everything, you're not selecting the boxes, the mesh, sorry. So we'll just key this. So we keyed it here. And then what we'll do, we'll go to frame 4, and the next pose is going to be the step down. So we know that this foot, we could just zero this, because you know it's going to be flat. And we know that. And then what I can see from the reference is that the knee is bent. So what I do, I move the hips until the knee is bent and kind of forward like this. And then this is following down here like so. And flipping like this. Okay, so there's a down pose there. keeping it simple. Then what we do, you see the graph editor here? I'm going to make sure we got it stepped. So we want to do the stepped mode. Press this one. And now you'll see there's no in between. It's just this pose, and now we're going into the next pose, which is going to be the passing position. Again, with the passing position, we know that the leg that's on the floor in the previous position is going to be stretched. So that's going to be the back leg. So we want to make that back leg posed a bit like this, coming off the floor slightly. So we'll just rotate this, going up slightly, and then move this slightly up, and then this one will be coming forward. What I do over here, I just zero out these controls that I've, so it's all like reset. Then I move it forward. Oops. This control to around here, and then I might just get the toe, this one, that's it. If you can't get the axis, just do it like through the channel box like that. Okay, and then this was slightly forward, so it's just about to push off. You could lock it out if you want, but I'll just keep a slight bend. Then that pose, and the next one, this next one is the key one to the run, where both feet are in the air. You see both those feet are in the air. That's what we're trying to get. So we'll just select this, and we'll select this foot, move it forward, and that's the highest point. So move it up high and back. Again, we'll get these controls here. Just zero that out, and then we will get those same controls again and just rotate. Use the X here just to get the correct axes, and that's going to be pushing off, and this is going to be like forward, and it's use the x-axis here, going up. So with this pose, we're creating a strong kind of triangle shape, right? We've got that nice line of action going through. So we might want to, what we'll do is we might want to move this a bit forward, and then go back to your graph editor and just constant that. See, you can see that's not constant, so we'll select everything there, key it. There's an in between there, as you can see here. So you just want to go here constant, and it blocks it all out. Now if we look, pose. So it's pose. Okay, and the next pose is going to be the contact on the opposite. So same thing, contact on the opposite. So this one's coming out. We know the Y is going to be 0. It's going to be on the floor. And we're going to just move it forward a bit. And also, these controls here, the toe roll and everything. If we have a look, let's zero that out and zero the toe out, the toe control. And then we'll just come back here and rotate this. So it's a contact pose like that. Move the hips forward until we get that straight in the leg around there. This leg, it will be rolling like this. So a good thing you can do here is the value here. So if we go to the start, okay, first of all, I did that wrong because I keyed it. On this frame, it should have been 3 frames forward. So let's undo that. So we got that pose. Now I'm going to move 3 frames forward. Made a mistake there. Right? Now, what I'll do, let me just reset this. and this are going to be 0. The toe and the heel are going to be 0. The main foot control, we know the Y is going to be that 0. Then we'll just rotate this back control here and move this leg forward a bit. And we're going to move the hips so that the leg is straight here. So it's kind of like that, yeah. And then this will move back here. Now what we can do is, if you look at the start pose here, we can get this value, which is 112, copy that, and go here, and we can put it in the opposite leg, which wasn't too far off. Same thing with the toe, we'll get that, copy that, go to the end, select the opposite leg, because remember it's contact on the opposite leg now. So we'll select that, if I can select it there, and then paste that there. So we've got pretty similar. And then we can check the poses out. This pose was a bit higher, isn't it? So something like that. Okay. Yeah. Doesn't have to be exact, but you know. The hip, also the hips too. Let's check it out. One y-axis. So if we go here, we can paste there. There you go. And you can see there's a spacing here, similar. Okay, and then now we can just key all this. So I'll just key all the controls on all of these keys. That's just a habit I have. So I know everything's keyed. And then I just make sure in the graph editor that everything is constant, this interpolation here. Or you can go to tangents, stepped. Everything will be stepped. Okay, we've got those poses, and the same again. Now we're going to do the next pose, which is 0. Oh, another thing I forgot to do, which is really important. The hips. At the start frame, the hips are going to naturally turn this way, right? And then when it lands in the next contact, so if we look at the value of that, it's 20. Let's do minus 20 just for simplicity's sake. Now, if we go to the end, it's going to be the opposite way. So it's going to be 20, 20. So that's very important. The other thing that's important that we should do is the torso. So the torso is going to be opposing. So it's going to be that way, right? So what we'll do, we will pose this like that. But then the bottom one, we will pose a bit more. And the last one, we will pose a little bit more. Yeah. So it's like little after little after little. So if we look now, it's going to be rotate, rotate, rotate. So we've got that kind of sea level like that. Yeah. Just gradually. And the head, what we'll do, we'll leave that for now. We can do that at the end. But we've got that pose. Now what we want to do, key that, go to the, so that's the pose. And then now we want the opposing. So what we want to do here is get the top one, get the top pose here, go to the start, and it says 9, yeah? 9, copy that. Put it in here and just put minus because the other direction. So minus, right? Same with the bottom, this bottom square that we've got a value on. What's the bottom square value? Let's look at the controller. Let's go to frame 1, 12.6. Then we go to the next contact one. Oops, copied that. So what we're doing, we're going back to the start and we're copying these values. So that's 12.6. Then we're going to our latest key and we're just going to go paste minus. So it's rotating the other way. Same thing with the second one. Go to the start, 12.24, copy that, paste it again and put a minus in front of it. That's all you're doing because you're opposing. So there's a minus. So we know that way, then that way. The leg obviously this hips is going to be leading. So this is the leading going forward, leading. And the hips is that way. So these are opposing, right? This is going to be this way. So it's always going opposite, right? Yeah. Just feel it out. All right. So we've got that pose in, Yeah. Next pose is contact, which means knee bend. Which means this foot comes forward. Forward like that. And then it comes up. Then there's going to be this one here is going to be coming up slightly forward. And we select this toe and heel control, zero that out. Have that come down here. Nearly stretching there. And then again, we want that pose, the next pose, which is going to be, so we key everything here. Let's put 0 here at the start. Let's select everything. Move it to 0 so that the next frame is 21. And then we can move this forward and up. The high point, remember? So this will be where both legs are in the air. Again, we will be rotating this. Okay, we'll get this pose right, move this back so it's a triangle-y shape. All right, so we've got that in the air. So if we look at the other one in the air, this one was so what we'll do with this one, make it like this. So it's similar to the other one. Okay, and we can sort these out later, but for now, just for blocking's sake. Let's get it about there. That should be all right. And then we'll just block this. So we'll get in that motion. And then now, basically the end frame is going to be, so let me just get my outline here, I'll show you. So the end frame, we're pretty much going to be the same as the start. So what I do is, I just literally select everything, middle click. Oop, I don't know what these extra frames are here. Let's delete these. Sometimes they just come in. Okay, so what we do is we select everything in the first frame, middle click, that's all you're doing, dragging that middle click to the end, press S, and you'll notice that same frame is copied, you see? at the end and at the front. Now what we want to do is if we go back to our, let's get this here, geo here. Okay, you know what? Geo. Okay, what we'll do, I've accidentally keyed everything on the geometry because I didn't have R there. You see? That's all right. We can just delete everything in here. We'll just delete all these keys. Doesn't matter. Won't affect the animation. What I was going to do is get rid of your curves. So you can go in here and just get rid of curves. Now select all your geometry. And what you want to do, you want to press Control D. Control D will duplicate. Now you won't see anything in here, but now with Control D you've just pressed, now press Shift and P and you see all of that comes out. But if you notice, you can't translate still. So what you do is you press Control G. Do it in those steps and you will get another group. And then as you can see here, you can move it. So what we want to do, we're going to use this geo as a geometry as a guide. So when we get here, we're like, all right, I'll get to the end frame here. Where do I want the next step? Around here? Seems all right. So then what I do is I'll just put that geo on there and I'll go to, all I'm doing there, I'm selecting the foot. So I'm selecting this foot control and the hips. And then I'm going to the end frame. We know the end frame is here, right? And then what I do is I move everything so it matches that. And the best way I do it is I will go in wireframe. When you go in wireframe and you go over the wire, you know exactly when you've matched because it goes thin like that. So it's more or less matched. And then what I do is I'll just go back and I'll be like, all right, let me go into there. Let me delete that geometry I had. So now I've got a cycle there and I'll just select everything. Make sure in the graph editor, everything is constant. Okay. And then that's your blocking. So you got blocking, and then blocking. So you got that way, and in the middle that way. Which is what we want, and we can sort all the other stuff out later. But that's it. That's your blocking. And that's your basis. This is what we're going to be building on next. So that's the first pass. Then we'll start adding the other stuff later. Don't worry about the arms yet. We can do that later. But yeah, that's... Well, actually, you know what? Let's do the arms now. Let's just put the poses in. So this is going to be the opposing arm, right? So we'll have this moving forward. And this one coming forward. And then we'll just select both of these and just rotate them for now. So press F to go close in and just rotate them like this. The thumb seems all right. We don't need to worry about that. We'll just move it down like this. And the head. All right, might as well do the head as well while we're here. Move the arm back. Same with... So just press F to do close up. It just properly goes in, so that's really cool. There. And then what we want to do, we just want to keep the same kind of line if we can with the arms. Don't worry about it intersects. There. I was thinking to pose a bit like that. Okay, let's move it like that. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? And then with this, like that, going forward. There, that's more of a running pose. Now what we'll do, we'll just select, we can select all of this top bit, except for the hips. and we can just middle click again, drag it to the end. So we know the end has it, yeah? And you can see, look, it's coming out there. So that's easy. All we can do is, what we'll do, we'll just select all of these arms and the shoulder here, and shift to select the arms here. And then when we go into the graph area, you can see here, it's going back here. So we want to delete these values basically. And we can leave that, we have the key in the middle. But what we can do is when we get to the middle here, we'll just move this back. Move this one back. Pose this here. So it's similar to that. And then we'll have this one coming forward. So it's kind of like sit like that. How was that? What was that like? It was low down. So a bit more lower like that and up. Like that. Okay. And then the head can be straight. Just make the head straight. Middle click for the end as well, get the head straight there. Okay, so now if we go to graph editor and just constant that, so if we look now, so we've got the blocking, just what we want. Yeah, I would say we might want to just tone this down a bit. Just move this back. Okay, then we'll just constant that, so everything's constant. So yeah, so we've got those poses. Now the other thing we can do is we can check the trajectory, which is a good thing to do. So if we go here and just turn off the control, select the hips, go to visualize, create edible motion trail. If you can't see it, go to show motion trail. There, you can see it. Now this is interesting because now we can see, go to translate. And we can make this a bit more even. Maybe bring it back. Bring this forward. Bring this down. And what we'll do, we'll adjust the feet accordingly. So that's the highest point. What we can do here is if we show motion trail, show controls, we can bring this one back slightly around here. Then what we can do here is middle click that back. And middle click that back here, that foot control. Move this back a bit. So we can get, so we get that's fine. We can start adjusting like this, you see. So coming up. Okay, now we can move this forward. Copy that. Then we can copy that foot control forward there. Make slight adjustments, you know, like up, forward maybe. So it's a bit more of an even bounce, but we can sort that out as we polish, but that's just to get a nice even run kind of in the curves, because it's down, up. So we got that, yeah, down, up, down, up, down, there. Okay, so we can delete that. So that's your blocking done. And then we'll move on to the next, which is splining. Then we'll start polishing it up. Okay, so yeah, let's move on to the next video, which is the splining. We're smoothing it out and playing with the curves. All right, guys, see you in the next video.